Hello everybody, this is Dr. Persons, just going to go over a few things for the exam. Saturday got a little bit busy, and since nobody had emailed me about the exam, I hadn't got any questions. Nobody posted a discussion board. I didn't figure y'all would mind if I waited a day, so now I'm posting here on Sunday. Basically what I did is I went through exam, I marked how many people missed every single question, and I'm going to go over the questions, the topics of the questions where people missed, where more than 10 people or more missed it out of 29, so about a third of the class missed the question. So I'm just going to run down the list. So the first thing that people missed was getting the atomic number, which is number of protons. It's the number that's on top of the symbol on the periodic table, and trying to figure out valence electrons from atomic numbers. So remember, any neutral atom has the same number of protons and electrons. So if it has an atomic number of 16, it has 16 it has 16 electrons and 6 valence electrons. Remember, we have the octet rule: 2, 8, and 8. So the first 2 electrons are in the innermost shell, the next 8 are in the next shell, and then whatever's left over is in the outermost shell and able to react. That's the valence electrons. So we go 2 plus 8 gets 10, and then you have 6 left over to get to 16, so you have 6 valence electrons. Same thing like with nitrogen as an example, has an atomic number of 7, so 2 electrons in the inner shell, 5 in the outermost shell, for a total of 7. Remember that cations are positively charged. Cats have pause. Cations are positively charged. Anions are negatively charged. Remember that when you find neutrons, that's the atomic mass. That's that non-whole number that's at the bottom of the box on the periodic table. And that is neutrons plus protons. So if the number is 31 and if the atomic mass is 31 and the atomic number is 15, then 31 minus 15 is 16. That is your number of neutrons. Remember that an ionic bond is a transfer of electrons. So it's one atom giving an electron to another atom, whereas a covalent bond is a sharing of electrons. And remember that isotopes vary in number of neutrons. Isotopes vary in number of neutrons, right? That's where we get, and the atomic mass is the sum total of all naturally occurring neutrons on the planet Earth. That's why it's a non-whole number. When we talk about bonds, remember that intermolecular bonds, like hydrogen bonds, are weaker than intramolecular bonds, like covalent and ionic bonds. And then that covalent bonds, which are a sharing, are stronger than ionic bonds, which is a transfer of electrons that maintains the attractiveness of the 2 atoms for each other, the 2 nuclei for each other, based on that positive-negative differential, that electrostatic force. Remember that if we move on to the next chapter, remember that unsaturated fats, lipids, unsaturated lipids, fats, and oils have a double bond. A saturated fatty acid is all single bonds, as many hydrogens as possible. Unsaturated fatty acids because it has double bond. And one of the other questions was asking about why do we sweat? We sweat because water has a high heat of vaporization. As the perspiration beads up on your skin, you get evaporative cooling, where that water reacts with the temperature in the air and evaporates off your skin, taking heat with it, taking energy with it, right? You can also get convective cooling, or you get, I think it's convective cooling, where you get wind coming in and blowing against your skin. And that wind helps carry water with it and pulls that heat away from your body and cools you down. Remember that triglycerides, right, are fats, whereas something like cellulose is a carbohydrate. That was a couple of questions about that. When we talk about protein structure, remember you have primary structure is just the polypeptide chain. Secondary structure is beta pleated sheets and alpha helices. If you ever see a symbol or something on the exam and you're not sure what it is, you need to ask so I can tell you what it means so you can get that question right. Tertiary structure is the final folded structure of a single polypeptide chain. And then quaternary structure is multiple polypeptide chains all stuck together, like hemoglobin. Each amino acid in a protein differs in its R group, right? So there's 20 proteinaceous or essential amino acids, although only 9 of them are actually essential. The other 11 our body can make. remember that nucleotides are held together by phosphodiester bonds. So that's a phosphate oxygen phosphate bond, and ester is when you have an oxygen with another molecule on either side of it, no double bonds, but a single bond molecule on the other side. So you have phosphodiester bonds, one phosphate with two oxygen phosphate bonds on either side. And then sugar, it's the sugar phosphate backbone that creates the ladder, the sides of the ladder, and it's the nucleotides that create the rungs of the ladder, right? Nucleotides are held together by hydrogen bonds. So for that question, I accepted hydrogen bonds as well because that technically was correct. Make sure you fill out your study guide. If you didn't fill out your study guide last time, make sure you fill it out this time. Send it to me. Take a picture of it and text it to me, email it to me so I can double check it. Work together in groups, right? Even if you just exchange emails with other people in the class and share your lecture guides or share phone numbers and create a group chat and ask questions and share pictures of questions and things like that. Work together. You don't have to do this alone. You are not alone. Even if you don't want to work with me, there's classmates that will work with you. We can keep working on developing those relationships in class as well. We maybe take the last 15 minutes of the next class just to kind of talk to each other. So on Tuesday in class, we're going to review as much of chapter 4 and 5 as we can, focusing on what's on the study guide, because I'm going to make sure the test is more centered on the study guide this next time as well, and hopefully that'll help improve scores. We'll talk a little bit about this at the beginning of class, but mostly I'm going to let this video do the talking for me. I'll reference the video in class, and if we need to, I can make a longer, more expansive video. But something like this, you can pause as much as you want, so I'm not too worried about it. If you ever have any questions, you have to let me know. I can't help you if you don't let me know. I want to help you. I will give of my time to help you, right? It's about the only thing I can give you. I'm not going to give you money, but I can give you time. Right, so I will give of my time to help you. Just gotta reach out for help. All right, have a good one.